Hello friends, welcome to Philosophy Network channel. I'm your host Mr. Lalit Rao. Today is 28th June 2019, 307th birth anniversary of the great Swiss philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau. In today's video, I am going to talk about Swiss philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau and some key women of his life. Suzanne Bernard, who was born in 1673 and who died in 1712, was the first woman in Rousseau's life whom he didn't have the fortune to see. Suzanne Bernard died of puerperal fever on 7th July 1712, 9 days after giving birth to Jean-Jacques Rousseau. She was Rousseau's mother and was the daughter of the watchmaker Jacques Bernard. Suzanne Bernard was raised by Pastor Samuel Bernard. The young Rousseau believed that Minister Samuel Bernard was his grandfather. In 1695, Suzanne Bernard had to answer charges that she had attended a street theatre disguised as a peasant woman so she could gaze upon Monsieur Vincent Sarrazin, whom she fancied despite his continuing marriage. After a hearing, she was ordered by the German consistory to never interact with him again. She married Rousseau's father, Isaac Rousseau, at the age of 31 and inherited from her father and guardian. Suzanne Bernard had a rather modest wealth. Mme de Warens was the most important woman in Rousseau's life. Françoise Louise de Warens, also known as Mme de Warens, was born in the year 1699 and she died in the year 1762. She was the original heroine of Rousseau's famous novel Nouvelle Héloïse. She was born as Louise Éléonore de la Tour du Pin, Vevey, Switzerland, into a Swiss Protestant family who had immigrated to Annecy but became Roman Catholic. She was both benefactress and mistress of Rousseau. As a controversial figure, Mme de Warens led a liberal life for a woman of her time. In 1726, she annulled her marriage with her husband, Monsieur de Warens. A very liberal woman of her time, she probably also played a political role as a liaison with the head of the House of Savoy. Far from Geneva, Rousseau met her in March 1728 and stayed at her home in Les Charmettes outside Chambéry between 1735 and 1737. She gave Rousseau spiritual, artistic and sentimental education to such an extent that he never forgot it. Rousseau saw her again in 1754 in Geneva and was struck by her decay. She was completely ruined and worn out before she was old. After returning from England in 1767, he tried to reconnect with her and discovered that she was dead. Rousseau paid homage to Mme de Warens in the last pages he wrote in the 10th walk of his book, Reveries of the Solitary Walker. Sophie d'Houdetot was a French noblewoman who is remembered primarily for the brief but intense love she inspired in Jean-Jacques Rousseau in 1757. Elisabeth Françoise Sophie, Countess of Houdetot, was born in the year 1730 and she died in the year 1813. She is known to have inspired Jean-Jacques Rousseau to write Julie or the New Héloïse. Rousseau had met Sophie d'Houdetot without noticing it in February 1748. Thereafter, he saw her several times, but it was not until January 1757 when he started writing La Nouvelle Héloïse that she was passionately excited about her. Although they frequented each other for several months, Sophie d'Houdetot retained her loyalty to her lover, the poet Saint-Lambert. She mingled in literary circles in Paris, and her acquaintances praised her for generosity and intelligence rather than for her beauty. She took interest in the newly independent American colonies. She corresponded with Thomas Jefferson and received Benjamin Franklin into her home. Mme d'Épinay also played a key role in Rousseau's life. Louise Florence Pétonie Tardieu d'Esclavelle d'Épinay, who was born in 1726 and who died in 1783, was a French writer. She was born in Valenciennes on 11th March 1726. She is well known on account of her liaison with Rousseau and Baron von Grimm and her acquaintanceship with Diderot, D'Alembert, D'Holbach and other French men of letters. Conceiving a strong attachment for Jean-Jacques Rousseau, she furnished for him in 1756 in the valley of Montmorency a cottage which she named the L'Hermitage. And in this retreat, he found for a time the quiet and natural rural pleasures he praised so highly. Rousseau in his book Les Confessions affirmed that the inclination was all on her side, but as after her visit to Geneva, Rousseau became her bitter enemy, it is thanks to her lover, Louis Dupin de Franqueuil, future grandfather of George Sand, that she met Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who became her friend. Rich exchanges link Rousseau and Mme d'Épinay to child rearing, breastfeeding or parent-child bonding. It is time for me to speak about the last but not the least important woman in Rousseau's life. She happens to be Thérèse Levasseur. Marie-Thérèse Levasseur was a seamstress who was born in the year 1721 and who died in 1801. She was barely literate, uneducated domestic servant who lived with Rousseau as his mistress for almost 30 years. Marie-Thérèse Levasseur came from a respected family which fell on hard times. She met Rousseau in Paris in 1745. At that time, she was working as a laundress and chambermaid at Hôtel Saint-Quentin, Rue des Cordiers, where Rousseau used to take his meals. At the time, she was 24 and Rousseau was 33. She bore Rousseau 5 children, all of whom were given to the Enfants Trouvés foundling home, the first in 1746 and the others in 1747, 1748, 1751 and 1752. Rousseau and Thérèse Levasseur went through a legally invalid marriage ceremony at Bourgoin on 29 August 1768. She provided Rousseau with support and care, and when he died, she was the sole inheritor of his belongings, including manuscripts and loyalties. After Rousseau's death in 1768, she married Jean-Henri Belly, a valet of Marquis René de Girardin, in November 1779. They lived together in Le Plessis-Belleville until her death in 1801. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a short account of the important women in Rousseau's life. If you liked the video, please subscribe to it and ask all your friends who are interested in philosophy to subscribe to Philosophy Network channel. Thank you very much for watching this video. I would be back soon with another video about philosophy. Thank you very much.